What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a Pillars of Eternity lore video about the Titans. Now, before we jump into anything here, I want to mention there are going to be a ton of spoilers for both the games, as well as DLC from both of the games. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and just jump into this. So, what the Titans are in the Pillars of Eternity universe is a fairly simple question that is easily answered. The Titans were the physical bodies of the gods that the Engwithans made before they themselves performed their apotheosis to become the gods. However, we do actually know a few more things than that, such as, in order to make the Titans, the Engwithans used what is called a god seed. Now, we see a god seed, or at least two halves of one, in the Forbidden Sanctum DLC from Pillars of Eternity 2. In this DLC, we are tasked with finding the God Seed in the associated DLC area there. Now, the God Seed isn't just some random material. It is both the blueprint and a required material to make the Titan function. That said, the Titans themselves are flesh and bone constructs. Now, how independent that body is from the actual god is up for some debate, again, because of that DLC from Pillars of Eternity 2. This is because, despite the fact that Whale, the god of secrets, no longer inhabits the Titan that is the subject of that DLC, that Titan has reanimated to a certain degree. It's not fully moving or anything, but we do encounter and have to fight portions of it. That might simply be because it's the god of secrets Titan specifically, but I just wanted to mention that. So, basically, after these Titans were made, and the Engwithans turned themselves into gods, they were using these bodies for their gods in the early days of their godhood. So you might be asking yourself, well, why don't they do that anymore? The answer to that question is the subject of the White March DLC from the first game. And to sum it up fairly quickly, Andra, the goddess of the sea, decided that it would be best to destroy the Deadfire Archipelago and the Deerwood, which housed most of the evidence that the gods were in fact made and not have always been. She did this by throwing the moon at this area of the world. Now, while most gods didn't agree with this, none of them stood up to stop her except Abaddon. Abaddon, the god of crafting and preservation and things, forged a hammer to throw at the moon, which then shattered it into pieces. However, he couldn't stop all these fragments, so in order to stop the largest one, he threw himself in front of it, and this fragment killed Abaddon's Titan and damaged him as a god. This is why you see Abaddon reforged, so to speak, in a lot of his artwork. And moreover, when I say damaged, I don't just mean it hurt him. I mean it literally shook the foundations of what he is a god of. It twisted what he represented, which again is part of the subject of that DLC, and I don't want to spoil it more than I have to. But the aftermath of that event caused the gods to decide it would be best to abandon their Titans, having just seen their fellow god suffer actual, real damage as a result of his Titan being harmed. So they all took their Titans back to a place called some name I cannot pronounce, but you go there at the end of Deadfire. That is to say, the top of the tower, where you activate, or deactivate rather, the storms surrounding Andra's mortar. You can actually see some of the skeletons from these Titans in little alcoves here, where they were left to rot and decay. However, 3 of these are empty. Now, we already know where one of them is, because Abaddon is dead, and we can find his skeleton at the Abbey of the Fallen Moon in the White March DLC. So we know where the skeleton for Abaddon's Titan is. We also, as I mentioned, know where the body of Whale's Titan is in the associated DLC area from the Forbidden Sanctum DLC. However, no one seems to quite know where the missing 3rd Titan is, which could be an interesting subject. Now, it's also worth mentioning that when you get that God Seed I was talking about earlier, you can choose to give it to the Archmage Lingrath or another person named Tane, because they are the people who can give you the quest to go get it. And essentially, if you return the God Seed to them, they express their intentions of trying to grow another Titan. So potentially, maybe this isn't the last we've heard of the Titans. There you go, guys. There's a lore video on the Titans themselves, what they are, what they did, their purpose in the world, and why they are not used anymore. With that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, but truly, just thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.